Welcome to Legal Marketing Minutes, where I share short bursts of current marketing news and advice. I'm your host, Nancy Myrland. If we haven't met, I'm a marketing, business development, content, social, and digital media speaker, trainer, and advisor for lawyers and legal marketers in mid to large-size law firms. Your time is valuable, so let's get started, okay? Today we're going to talk about your blog posts, and if you don't write blog posts, don't tune me out, because this could apply to you as you start. When you create blog posts, I want you to get the maximum value for them, and that doesn't always mean that people click in the places you want them to click or that they convert to new clients right away. What I mean is that I want you to develop the relationships that are there because of your blog posts. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that there are people out in this world who are so kind and they take the time to share your work. And sometimes you don't know about them. They might not include your name when they share it on Twitter, for example. I have found many blog posts shared by people when they don't necessarily use my name, but they might quote something or they might just share it without a comment. So here's what I want you to do, because I think this is really important. And this is the low-hanging fruit, my friends. This is how you can establish relationships with people who have already expressed an interest in you, which is the best. That's a warm contact. That's a warm lead, if you will. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up a search on Twitter. And for those of you who aren't on Twitter because you don't want to use it, you know what? You don't have to use it extensively for this, but this is a reason for you to have an account, because here's what I want you to do. I want you to go up to the search bar on Twitter, and I want you to put in the name of your blog post. You can copy and paste it from the title bar to make it easy on yourself. Put it in the search bar, hit enter, and see if anything pops up. At the very least, your blog post, as you may have shared it or somebody may have shared it for you, should be popping up. And I happen to use TweetDeck. I was weaned on TweetDeck way back when, so it continues to be my favorite free tool of choice. But you can use another free version of Hootsuite. You can use other paid tools. And those of you who are using paid tools, you know what those are and you know what your favorites are. So I won't discuss those today, but let's say, for example, you are using TweetDeck or Hootsuite. What I do on TweetDeck is, after I write a blog post, I go to TweetDeck and I just put in by the magnifying glass in the search bar, I put in, for example, I just had a blog post that was, I believe it was titled, these aren't the exact words, but coverage from hashtag LMA18, the Legal Marketing Association Annual Conference. Now that's a mouthful, I know, but it's what it was, so that's what I used to describe it. And I put that in the search bar. And what then comes up is, at the very least, my tweet of that blog post. And then, surprisingly, I almost always find out, and actually it's not a surprise to me anymore because I'm so used to this. What happens is, those people who don't necessarily use my name, when they share my blog posts across Twitter, and they may just have the title of it, they may do it right from my website, from my blog, and share it, and they might not use the name. And that's okay. My gosh, I'm so appreciative of the share. Heavens, people are very kind when they do that. So what that does is, putting that search term in and hitting enter lets me find those people who are taking the time to share my content. And so what do I do with that? Well, I then look at those and I say, you know what? I need to interact with those people. And you know what they might have done is, they might have shared it from the blog. They might have retweeted it from Twitter, whether that's that I originally tweeted and they retweeted my share, my original tweet, or they retweeted somebody else, or they just made a comment about it and just put the title in, or maybe they just put my name in. Any one of those things could have happened, and I will find it because I set that search up. So with every blog post, I do this search on Twitter. And the other thing that I do on Twitter is that I then tell TweetDeck to make a column for that search. And that happens automatically when I hit enter, when I have conducted that search. And then I move that column into my plain view so that when I log on to TweetDeck, I can see it as one of my main, depending on which laptop or computer I'm using. If I'm on my 34-inch wide monitor, which I just got and I'm so in love with, I don't use all 34 inches of it for Chrome or for TweetDeck, but I do stretch it out a bit, a lot more than I can on my laptop. Then I might see 5 or 6 of my lists or my columns at one time on Twitter, on TweetDeck. and I can see all of the shares, all of the retweets, all of the comments about my blog posts. And it then allows me to reach out and thank those people. And I try to do that regularly. You can actually tell TweetDeck to alert you and give you a notification every time it happens. If you don't want that many notifications coming, then don't do that. But you can do that up in the settings at the top of each column or each list that you might have. And so do that for every blog post. And depending on how popular that blog post is or was, I might let it sit there for about 2 weeks and let it run its course. And then I go ahead and delete that column if the activity has dwindled down to nothing or a trickle of, maybe 1 or 2 a week. And I don't let it take up that real estate on TweetDeck because I can add another blog post that I may have written. The other ways you can find people who have shared or retweeted your content on Twitter is other sources like JD Supra. JD Supra has a great feature where they show who actually tweeted your blog posts that you then have curated. JD Supra has a great feature that allows you to go in and see who tweeted or shared your blog post that you placed on JD Supra. If you use JD Supra, it shows who has tweeted or shared your blog posts, and you can go find. You might have missed them. I've missed a couple that I haven't found because of that column that I talked about a moment ago on TweetDeck. And then I can do the same thing. I can then reach out to that person and thank them for sharing my blog post that was originally shared on JD Supra. I sometimes like to remind people what they did because people are busy and a lot of things have happened between the time they shared it and the time I get to them, even if it's the same day. A lot has happened. So sometimes I'll say thanks for the assist on sharing my blog post from JD Supra. I really appreciate it. And then I might go look at their content on Twitter to see if I can reciprocate and exchange that kindness and do the same thing for them. Another free way to do this is to set up a Google alert. If it's a really important blog post, then you can set up a Google alert and ask Google to email you. And you can tell them how frequently you want this email. You can say, email me once daily whenever somebody shares or posts any content with these keywords, the title of your blog post. And then you'll find out maybe some other sites that have shared your content that you didn't even know about. You might also find some that have scraped your content and have posted it without you knowing about it or have posted it as their own content. So it's another good, and competitive intelligence isn't even a good term for it because that's not what it is. You can find the bad actors out there who might be scraping your content. So I would do that too. So there are, again, a number of paid tools. We won't go into those today, but go ahead and try it, particularly the search and setting up the column on TweetDeck or Hootsuite, your choice, whatever you use, and or setting an alert up on Google Alerts if it's a really, really important blog post. All right, my friends, well, that's it for today's Legal Marketing Minutes. Do me a favor and let me know your thoughts about this topic and about setting up these searches. Have you ever done it, and has it proved fruitful? Every time I share a comment like this or this suggestion, people always say, why didn't I think of that? And other people say, yes, I've been doing that for a long time. So if you're listening on a platform where you can leave a comment, please do so, as I'd love to hear from you. If not, you can always email me at nancy@myrlandmarketing.com. That's MYRLAND marketing.com. Plus, you can always find me on my blog at myrlandmarketing.com. And on Twitter, since we're talking about Twitter, I am always at Nancy Myrland. Again, MYRLAND. Also, if you're connected to the legal profession, I'd love to have you join my Facebook group, which you can find by searching Facebook for Social Media for Lawyers and Legal Marketers with Nancy Myrland. When you do, please let me know this is how you found out about the group. Well, thank you so much for spending a few legal marketing minutes with me. I know your time is valuable, so I appreciate you spending a few with me. Until next time, I'm Nancy Myrland. Take care.